Hey guys. So I've had my dinner, and now I'm ready to give my review, my full review, on Stanley Kubrick's exhibit at LACMA. So, in my last episode, I talked about the Caravaggio exhibit that I got to see. Great and not so great at the same time. So now I'm going to talk about the Stanley Kubrick exhibit that I got to see. So, as an introduction, I'm coming at this review, and I entered this exhibit kind of with the mindset of, number one, I'm not huge into film. I do watch some movies, but for the most part, I'm not a crazy movie junkie. I kind of pick and choose what I like to watch and what I like to spend my time on, and sometimes my money. And then also, aside from that, and on top of that, I'm not a huge Stanley Kubrick fan. So I've seen some of his movies. I'm familiar with some of them. I wouldn't say that one of my all-time favorite movies, but one of the movies that I really enjoyed was A Clockwork Orange. I did not really care for his adaptation of The Shining. I thought that the atmosphere in it was really good, but overall, as a horror movie, I thought it kind of lacked. So I actually kind of liked the TV movie that they made a few years later that actually was much closer to the book itself. So, with that being said, the exhibit is huge, like crazy huge. So when you come into the museum itself and you're waiting at the ticket booth, I mean it's like almost hard not to see because it's huge. And they gave it an entire wing to itself. And, he's got his name written on the side, on the glass doors, and so they gave him an entire section all to himself. And when you walk in, there's two big, huge movie screens and some space to sit, and you can watch little clips from all of his movies. And then as the clip runs through on one side, on the other side, it gives some quotes or some extra information or some reasons why Stanley Kubrick did things the way he did them. And then you walk into this massive room, and there's some history of film and history of cameras on one side, and then a big, huge screenshot of Lolita. They have a huge wall where it's all the movie posters from all the movies that he did. And then as you go through each other room, each room is dedicated to a specific movie that he did. And so you have a room for all of his earlier movies, and then Harry Lyndon, and Clockwork Orange has its own space. Eyes Wide Shut has its own space. The Shining has its own space. So I think almost all of his movies have like a whole room to themselves. So I would say, for me personally, I kind of skimmed through most of the exhibit. Like, I tried to at least glance at everything because, again, I never like to totally ignore any section of art that might be significant to history, or if, even if it's a different section of history that I'm not really familiar with, like filmography or photography. I still like to try and soak it in as much as I can because it's still incredible. So even if I don't necessarily understand it all, maybe someday I will. And to understand just the significance and its impact is kind of cool. So I glanced at everything. A couple of the rooms I spent more time in. Some of those rooms, one that I really liked was Harry Lyndon. There was a whole section where he had somebody do watercolors of all the costuming that he wanted. And so he did like all these ideas for what the costume should look like in watercolors. And it was really pretty. So I geeked out on that because, again, it's it's painting. And that's what I like to look at more than film, I guess. And then there was another room that was really neat. It was almost more like a hallway. But on one side, they had a bunch of stuff, a bunch of sketches for scenes and scene ideas for Space Odyssey. And even the wall, they had like a screenshot printed on the wall itself that reached all the way to the ceiling of one of the scenes from the movie. And then on the other side, it was all screenshots, sketches, and storyboards for AI, which it's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but I remember seeing it in the theaters when I was younger and really liking that movie. I think it got some really bad reviews, or it didn't get actually, like, not a lot of people really liked it after it had been out for a while. So I'd be curious to watch it again, just because, I mean, after seeing all those storyboards, it was actually really neat. And that was really cool. I really liked that. And then the Clockwork Orange room was pretty neat. They actually had some of the mannequins for the Milk Girls in there, so that was kind of fun. And then they had one of the costumes for the actual main characters, which I thought was kind of cool. So I took a picture of that. And they had all these newspapers, which I didn't know this, but I guess after the movie came out, there were some copycat killers that basically borrowed from the storyline of Clockwork Orange, and their violence, like, they became like Clockwork Orange killers. I had no idea. So those were kind of cool to see. There were some old letters from when Kubrick was just starting his career, and he would write to different people. And another thing that I randomly geek out on is calligraphy and handwriting. I think it's kind of a fascinating art that's lost, and so those were kind of fun to see just for the handwriting and stuff. I know most people don't care, but I'm kind of weird. The room for The Shining was kind of, well, it was done well. It was kind of fun to walk in there. They put like two of the axes like in the wall, so they were sticking out, and it looked kind of creepy. And then they had a big screenshot of the twins that are there in the elevator when the little boy's bicycling down the hall. They actually had their outfits there, and they explained that they actually weren't really twins in real life, and like all this stuff. So, yeah, it was definitely a fascinating exhibit. I recommend it in a way. I guess I'm bitter because Kubrick got like this massive amount of space and all this. I mean, they really, you can tell, they did their work on him, and they found all this stuff, and they yanked it all out, and they put it, I mean, they curated it really well. And if you watch my other video on Caravaggio, they did not do the same for him. And so I think I'm just bitter. It definitely, because I mean, the show did exactly what it's supposed to do, which is dredge up. For those that really like him, they're supposed to be able to geek out like crazy and like see all this stuff in person and see the behind the scenes stuff and understand him a little bit better, or even just see the stuff that they've already researched on their own. And then for those that don't really know him, like myself, it's supposed to give them new insight so that they can better appreciate the body of work that he did and why he's important. And that's what it did for me. I mean, I definitely see the work that he put behind his films, and so I have a greater appreciation for him. But I'm super bitter that they did not do that for Caravaggio. So, that's my biased opinion right there. So overall, I give the actual Kubrick exhibit probably an A. I mean, it really was well done. And the museum itself, I'm still angry at you. Very sad. So, but overall, that is it. And I will use the rest of my time to show you a couple of photos from the exhibits that I saw. Or actually, you know what? I'm just going to put it in a separate film. So I will do a little slideshow for you guys and show you some of the photos. So anyways, video will be coming up shortly. I'm getting my stuff together for the Christopher Moore Sacre Bleu review. So I'll be doing that next time. And on that note, hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you next time.